1. All right, let's dive a little deeper into this 1976 Mercury Capri Mk2, shall we? First off, let's talk about the history of this model. The Capri was originally introduced in 1969 as a European-style sports car that was designed to compete with the likes of the Ford Mustang. The Mk2 model, which is what we've got here, was introduced in 1974 and featured a longer wheelbase and a more luxurious interior than its predecessor. One of the things that makes this particular Capri so special is its rarity. The Mk2 model was only produced for a few years, and finding one in such good condition is a real treat. The fact that it's got a manual transmission is also a plus for those who enjoy a more engaging driving experience. Now let's talk about the aesthetics. The red paint job on this Capri is a classic choice that never goes out of style. It's the kind of color that turns heads and gets people talking. And while the seller notes that the paint is mostly original, it's still in great shape considering the car's age. Inside, you'll find a comfortable and stylish interior that's perfect for cruising around town or hitting the open road. The Capri was known for its luxurious touches, and this one doesn't disappoint. The seats are plush and supportive, and there's plenty of room for you and a passenger to stretch out and enjoy the ride. Of course, no car is perfect, and this Capri is no exception. With over 100,000 miles on the odometer, there's bound to be some wear and tear. However, the seller has taken great care to address any issues and has replaced a number of key components to ensure that it runs smoothly. One thing to keep in mind is that this is an older car, so it may not have all the modern conveniences that we're used to. There's no air conditioning, for example, so if you're planning on driving it in the summer months, be prepared to roll down the windows and let the breeze flow through your hair. Despite its age, though, this Capri has a lot to offer. It's a true classic that's sure to turn heads wherever you go. Whether you're a collector looking for a new addition to your garage or just someone who appreciates the beauty and craftsmanship of vintage cars, this 1976 Mercury Capri Mk2 is definitely worth considering. So what are you waiting for? If you've got $12,750 burning a hole in your pocket and a love for classic sports cars, this Capri could be the perfect fit. Just imagine yourself cruising down the highway, the wind in your hair, and the roar of the engine in your ears. It's the kind of experience that every car enthusiast dreams of, and it could be yours with this beautiful 1976 Mercury Capri Mk2. 2. We've got a real treat for you. A 1967 Mercury Monterey that's currently up for grabs on Craigslist. This classic beauty is priced at just $9,975. And let me tell you, it's an absolute steal for what you're getting. First off, can we talk about that mileage? Just 60,096 miles on the odometer? That's practically unheard of for a car that's over 50 years old. It's clear that this Monterey has been lovingly cared for over the years, with an exacting maintenance program that's kept it in top shape. The seller even goes so far as to say that this car is a rare find, and we couldn't agree more. When was the last time you saw a 1967 Mercury Monterey in such great condition? It's the kind of car that you've been dreaming about, and now it's right here in front of you. But let's talk about the specifics. This Monterey is a stunning shade of blue that's sure to turn heads wherever you go. It's the kind of color that just screams classic cool, and it's been beautifully maintained over the years. Under the hood, you'll find a powerful engine that's ready to take you on all sorts of adventures. And with an automatic transmission, driving this beauty is a breeze. Whether you're cruising down the highway or just taking a leisurely drive around town, this Monterey is the perfect companion. Of course, no car is perfect, but this one comes pretty darn close. The seller notes that it's got a clean title, which is always a good sign, and with such low mileage, you can rest assured that this car has plenty of life left in it. Now, I know what you might be thinking, but wait, it's an older car. Won't it be a hassle to maintain? Well, fear not, my friends. The seller has made it clear that this Monterey has been meticulously cared for over the years, so you can enjoy all the benefits of a classic car without any of the headaches. In fact, the seller even goes so far as to say that you could keep looking. But why bother? You found the perfect vehicle right here, and honestly, we couldn't agree more. So, what are you waiting for? If you're in the market for a classic car that's sure to impress, this 1967 Mercury Monterey is the one for you. With its low mileage, stunning color, and impeccable maintenance record, it's the kind of car that dreams are made of. Don't let this opportunity pass you by. Head on over to Craigslist and check out this amazing 1967 Mercury Monterey for yourself. Trust us, you won't be disappointed. 3. Get ready to feast your eyes on this stunning 1974 Mercury Cougar XR7, currently up for grabs at an unbelievable price of just $7,000. That's right, you heard me correctly. $7,000 for this absolute beauty. First things first, let's talk about the condition of this classic ride. The seller has listed it as being in excellent shape, and from what we can see, they're not exaggerating one bit. The Cougar has recently undergone a fresh paint job, and the vibrant orange color is sure to make heads turn wherever you go. It's the kind of color that screams, "Look at me!" in all the right ways. But the upgrades don't stop there, folks. This Cougar has been treated to a whole host of improvements that make it stand out from the crowd. The seller mentions many other upgrades, and while they don't go into specifics, we can only imagine the goodies that await the lucky buyer. Under the hood, you'll find a rebuilt 351 Cleveland engine that's ready to roar to life at a moment's notice. This powerhouse of an engine is the stuff of legends, and it's sure to provide plenty of thrills every time you get behind the wheel. But perhaps the most impressive thing about this Cougar is the fact that it comes with a clean California title, complete with the seller's name on the pink slip. That means you can buy with confidence, knowing that you're getting a legitimate, well-cared-for vehicle. And let's not forget about the basics. This Cougar is a coupe with rear-wheel drive and an automatic transmission, making it the perfect blend of style and practicality. It's got just 85,000 miles on the odometer, which is practically nothing for a car of this age. Now, I know what you might be thinking. But wait, it's an older car. Won't it be a hassle to maintain? Well, fear not, my friends. The seller has clearly put a lot of love and care into this Cougar, and it shows in every detail. From the rebuilt engine to the fresh paint job, this is a car that's been treated with the respect it deserves. So what are you waiting for? If you're in the market for a classic ride that's sure to turn heads and provide endless thrills, this 1974 Mercury Cougar XR7 is the one for you. With its excellent condition, rebuilt engine, and clean title, it's the kind of car that you'll be proud to call your own. Don't let this opportunity pass you by. Head on over to Craigslist and check out this amazing Cougar for yourself. At just $7,000, it's an absolute steal for a car of this caliber. Trust us, you won't be disappointed. 4. Have we got a treat for you today? Get ready to feast your eyes on this stunning 1959 Ford Galaxy, currently up for grabs on Craigslist at an incredible price of just $10,000. That's right, you heard me correctly. $10,000 for this absolute gem of a car. First things first, let's talk about the condition of this classic beauty. The seller has listed it as being in excellent shape, and from what we can see, they're not exaggerating one bit. The body has been fully restored, and the white paint job is absolutely stunning. It's the kind of color that just screams classic elegance in all the right ways. But the real star of the show here is the interior. The seller mentions that it's all original and in great shape, which is a true testament to the care and attention that's been given to this Galaxy over the years. You can just imagine yourself sliding behind the wheel and feeling like you've been transported back in time to the golden age of American automobiles. Under the hood, you'll find the original motor that's ready to purr like a kitten. This Galaxy is a true classic, and it's clear that it's been well maintained over the years. The seller even mentions that it runs great, so you can hit the road with confidence knowing that you've got a reliable ride. Now, there are a couple of small issues to note. The odometer and speedometer are not working, which means you won't be able to keep track of your mileage or speed. However, the seller is upfront about this, and it's a small price to pay for a car of this caliber. Plus, the odometer has rolled over, which means this Galaxy has likely seen its fair share of adventures over the years. But perhaps the most impressive thing about this Galaxy is the fact that it comes with the Continental package. For those who may not know, this was a highly sought-after option back in the day that added an extra level of sophistication and style to the car. It's the kind of detail that sets this Galaxy apart from the rest and makes it a true standout. And let's not forget about the basics. This Galaxy is a sedan with rear-wheel drive and a manual transmission, making it the perfect blend of style and performance. It's the kind of car that demands respect on the road and turns heads wherever it goes. So what are you waiting for? If you're in the market for a classic ride that's sure to impress, this 1959 Ford Galaxy is the one for you. With its excellent condition, original motor and interior, and Continental package, it's the kind of car that you'll be proud to call your own. Don't let this opportunity pass you by. Head on over to Craigslist and check out this amazing Galaxy for yourself. At just $10,000, it's an absolute steal for a car of this caliber. Trust us, you won't be disappointed. This is the kind of car that dreams are made of, and it's waiting for you to make it yours. 5. We've got a real blast from the past. A 1958 Edsel citation, and boy, is it a sight to behold. This classic beauty is up for grabs on Craigslist for just $3,800. Can you believe it? Now let's dive into the details. This Edsel citation is a 4-door hardtop, sporting a sweet pink and white color scheme. The seller claims it has low original miles, and get this, it was bought new right here in town and never left. That's right, this car has been a local legend since day one. The story gets even better. Apparently, this gem was recently pulled out of long-term storage, where it had been tucked away in a basement since around 1969. Talk about a time capsule! The seller mentions that the car is very complete and intact, although it might be missing the fuel pump. But hey, that's just a minor detail, right? Now here's the thing. The seller says the motor is still free and not frozen up, but let's be real. This car hasn't been started in years, so it's going to need some TLC to get it back on the road. But that's part of the charm, isn't it? Taking a piece of history and bringing it back to life. One of the coolest features of this Edsel citation is the Teletouch transmission. That's right, folks. This car was ahead of its time with advanced technology. And the best part? The original paint and interior are still intact, along with a clean Washington title. So if you're in the Kennewick, Washington area and have $3,800 burning a hole in your pocket, why not take a chance on this classic 1958 Edsel citation? It's a rare opportunity to own a piece of automotive history, and who knows, with a little elbow grease and a lot of love, you could be cruising down the street in style, turning heads everywhere you go. But hey, let's keep it real. The seller does mention that the car is in good condition, but after being stored for so long, it's probably going to need some work. Don't let that discourage you, though. This is a project car, and it's all about the journey, not just the destination. So, what do you say, folks? Are you ready to take on the challenge of bringing this 1958 Edsel citation back to its former glory? If you're interested, just give the seller a call or shoot them a text. Who knows, you might just end up with the car of your dreams. 6. We've got a real treat for you, a 1976 Chevrolet Monte Carlo, and it's a beauty. This classic ride is up for grabs on Craigslist for a cool $10,000. Let's dive in and see what makes this car so special. First off, can we talk about that stunning red paint job? It's like a cherry on wheels. The seller mentions that the car is in good condition, which is always a plus. You don't want to be stuck with a lemon, right? Under the hood, you'll find a mighty 8-cylinder engine ready to roar to life. And get this, the seller says it's running well and even past smog. That's a huge relief, especially for those of you in areas with strict emissions regulations. Now let's talk about the drivetrain. The seller mentions that it's FWD, which is a bit unusual for a classic muscle car like the Monte Carlo. Typically, these beauties come with RWD. But hey, who says you can't mix things up a bit? The odometer shows 135,000 miles, which might seem like a lot. But for a car that's almost 50 years old, it's not too shabby. Plus, with proper maintenance and care, this Monte Carlo has plenty of life left in it. One of the coolest things about this car is that it comes with a set of 19 inches deep dish Supremes with white walls. Talk about a throwback to the glory days of American muscle. Those wheels are going to look absolutely sick on this ride. The seller also mentions that the car has a clean title and is registered until May 2025. That's a huge bonus. No need to worry about any pesky paperwork or legal issues. Now, I know what you might be thinking. $10,000 is a lot of cash for a car that's almost half a century old. But hear me out. This is a piece of American automotive history. The Monte Carlo is an icon, and owning one is like having a little slice of nostalgia in your garage. Plus, think about all the heads you'll turn when you're cruising down the street in this bad boy. People will be stopping to take pictures and asking you about the car. It's a conversation starter and a work of art all rolled into one. So, if you've got the cash and the love for classic American muscle, why not take a chance on this 1976 Chevrolet Monte Carlo? It's got style, it's got power, and it's got a whole lot of character. Give the seller a call and see if you can make a deal. Who knows? You might just end up with the car of your dreams. 7. We're diving into the world of classic American muscle with this absolutely stunning 1979 Oldsmobile Cutlass Supreme. And guess what? It's up for grabs on Craigslist for just $7,500. That's right, you could be the proud owner of this beauty for less than the price of a boring old economy car. First things first, let's talk about the condition of this Cutlass Supreme. The seller describes it as excellent. And from what I can see in the ad, they're not exaggerating. This car looks absolutely gorgeous with its sleek black exterior and matching black leather interior. It's like a stealth mode on wheels. Under the hood, you'll find a powerful 8-cylinder Oldsmobile 350 V8 engine, ready to roar to life and take you on the ride of your life. And with just 120,403 miles on the odometer, this car has plenty of life left in it. Plus, the seller mentions that it runs smooth and everything works as it should. That's music to any car lover's ears. One of the coolest features of this Cutlass Supreme is the bucket seats and center console. It's like having your own personal cockpit on the road. And with that plush leather interior, you'll be riding in style and comfort. Now, I know what you might be thinking. If this car is so great, why hasn't it been on the road in a long time? Well, sometimes life gets in the way and cars get put on the back burner. But the good news is that the seller has given this Cutlass Supreme some much-needed TLC. They've changed all the fluids, including the fuel, so it's ready to hit the road again. Of course, no car is perfect, and this one does have a couple of minor issues. The seller mentions that it needs a rear quarter window, but they've already sourced one from a wrecking yard for just $35. And it might need a tune-up and some fresh tires, but those are easy fixes. But let's be real here. Those minor issues are nothing compared to the sheer awesomeness of owning a classic American muscle car like this Cutlass Supreme. Imagine cruising down the street, turning heads everywhere you go. People will be stopping to take pictures and asking you about the car. It's a conversation starter and a work of art all rolled into one. And let's not forget about the investment potential. Classic cars like this Cutlass Supreme are only going to go up in value as time goes on. You could be sitting on a gold mine in a few years. So if you've got $7,500 burning a hole in your pocket and a love for classic American muscle, why not take a chance on this 1979 Oldsmobile Cutlass Supreme? It's got style, it's got power, and it's got a whole lot of potential. Give the seller a call and see if you can make a deal. Who knows? You might just end up with the car of your dreams. 8. We're stepping back in time with this absolutely stunning 1951 Plymouth Concorde, and let me tell you, it's a real head-turner. This beauty is up for grabs on Craigslist for just $12,500, and it's worth every penny. First things first, let's talk about the condition of this Plymouth Concorde. The seller describes it as a true time capsule, and boy, they're not kidding. This car is a genuine survivor, with its original paint, fender skirts, and visor still intact. It's like stepping into a time machine and being transported back to the 1950s. Under the hood, you'll find a reliable 6-cylinder engine that runs like a dream. And get this, it's a manual transmission, so you can really feel the road beneath you as you cruise down the highway. There's nothing quite like the feeling of shifting gears in a classic car like this. Now let's talk about the interior. The dash is absolutely immaculate and in working order, which is a testament to how well this car has been cared for over the years. And the seats? They've been reupholstered with Zarape material, giving the car a unique and stylish look that's sure to turn heads. But the best part? This Plymouth Concorde isn't just a pretty face. It's a car that's meant to be driven. The seller mentions that it runs and drives great, so you can buy it today and enjoy the drive home. Imagine cruising down the road in this classic beauty, feeling the wind in your hair and the sun on your face. It's the stuff that dreams are made of. Now, I know what you might be thinking. The odometer has rolled over, so who knows how many miles this car has actually traveled. But here's the thing. With a car like this, the miles don't matter as much as the memories. This Plymouth Concorde has been around for over 70 years, and it's seen a lot of history. It's a piece of Americana that you can own and cherish for years to come. And let's talk about the price for a moment. $12,500 might seem like a lot of money for an old car, but trust me, it's worth every penny. This Plymouth Concorde is a rare find, and it's only going to go up in value as time goes on. Plus, think about all the fun you'll have taking it to car shows and events, showing off your pride and joy to other enthusiasts. So, if you're in the market for a classic car that's sure to turn heads and make memories, look no further than this 1951 Plymouth Concorde. It's located in Snelling, California, and can be seen by appointment. The seller even mentions that they can help with transportation, so no worries if you're not local. Don't miss out on this opportunity to own a piece of automotive history. Give the seller a call and make an appointment to see this beauty in person. 9. We're talking about a 1983 Cadillac Seville. And let me tell you, this beauty is a real steal at just $4,900. That's right, you could be cruising down the street in classic Cadillac style for less than the price of a used Honda Civic. First things first, let's talk about the condition of this Seville. The seller describes it as excellent, and from what I can see in the ad, they're not exaggerating. This car looks absolutely stunning with its custom paint job that's sure to turn heads wherever you go. And with only 76,000 miles on the odometer, it's clear that this Cadillac has been well cared for over the years. Under the hood, you'll find a powerful 8-cylinder engine that's ready to roar to life and take you on the ride of your life. And with rear-wheel drive, you'll feel like you're in total control as you cruise down the highway. Plus, with an automatic transmission, driving this Seville is a breeze. But the best part? This Cadillac isn't just a pretty face, it's a car that's meant to be driven. The seller mentions that it's in good running condition, so you can buy it today and enjoy the drive home. Imagine pulling up to your favorite restaurant or coffee shop in this classic beauty. You'll be the talk of the town. Now, I know what you might be thinking. A car this old must have some issues, right? Well, the seller doesn't mention any specific problems, and they do say that it has a clean title. That means you can buy with confidence, knowing that you're getting a car that's ready to hit the road. And let's talk about the price for a moment. $4,900 for a classic Cadillac like this is an absolute steal. You'd be hard-pressed to find another car with this much style and character for that price. Plus, think about the investment potential. As time goes on, classic cars like this Seville are only going to go up in value. So if you're in the market for a classic car that's sure to turn heads and make memories, look no further than this 1983 Cadillac Seville. It's located in Roseburg, Oregon, and the seller is asking interested buyers to come check it out in person at 1351 S.E. Stevens Street. Don't miss out on this opportunity to own a piece of automotive history. Imagine cruising down the street in this beauty, feeling the wind in your hair and the sun on your face. It's the stuff that dreams are made of. So what are you waiting for? Grab your checkbook and head on down to Roseburg to see this Cadillac Seville in person. 10. We're diving into the world of classic American luxury with this absolutely stunning 1985 Ford LTD Crown Victoria. And guess what? It's up for grabs on Craigslist for just $4,000. That's right, you could be the proud owner of this golden beauty for less than the price of a boring old economy car. First things first, let's talk about the heart of this beast. Under the hood, you'll find a powerful 5.0L NAV8 overhead valves, OHV, 16V engine that's ready to roar to life and take you on the ride of your life. And with just 86,391 miles on the odometer, this car has plenty of life left in it. In fact, it's been averaging less than 3,000 miles per year, which is a testament to how well it's been cared for. But the best part? This LTD Crown Victoria isn't just a pretty face, it's a car that's loaded with factory default features that are sure to impress. From the gleaming gold exterior to the plush gold interior, every inch of this car screams luxury. And with a clean Carfax report, you can buy with confidence knowing that this car has been well maintained over the years. Now, I know what you might be thinking. A car this old must be a gas guzzler, right? Well, with an MPG of 14 city and 22 highway, it's not the most fuel-efficient car on the road. But let's be real here. If you're in the market for a classic American luxury car, you're not looking for a Prius. You want something that's going to turn heads and make a statement, and this LTD Crown Victoria delivers in spades. Plus, with rear-wheel drive and an automatic transmission, driving this car is a breeze. You'll feel like royalty as you cruise down the street, turning heads everywhere you go. And with a clear title, you can buy with confidence knowing that there are no hidden surprises lurking in this car's past. But the best part? Every vehicle from MC European comes with a 3-month 3,000-mile warranty at no additional cost. That means you can drive away in your pre-owned vehicle knowing that you're covered in the event of a major repair. And if you want even more peace of mind, their sales consultants can provide details on coverage and optional longer-term warranty coverage options. So, if you're in the market for a classic American luxury car that's sure to turn heads and make a statement, look no further than this 1985 Ford LTD Crown Victoria. At just $4,000, it's an absolute steal. Don't miss out on this opportunity to own a piece of automotive history. Stop in today and take this beauty for a spin. 11. We're stepping back in time with this gorgeous 1964 Plymouth Valiant 200. And let me tell you, it's a real head-turner. This baby is up for grabs on Craigslist for just $12,500 or best offer, and it's worth every penny. First things first, let's talk about the heart of this beast. Under the hood, you'll find a powerful 273 V8 engine that's paired with an automatic transmission. And with power steering and manual disc brakes, driving this Valiant is a breeze. It may only have a heater, but who needs air conditioning when you've got style like this? But the real story here is the upgrades. The previous owner clearly loved this car and put some serious work into it. They added disc brakes off a 73 Duster with a 5-on-4.5 bolt pattern, new bushings, and ball joints. The rear end has also been upgraded to a 5-on-4.5, and the car now has electronic ignition for even better performance. And let's talk about those wheels! The Valiant is riding on a set of rally wheels with new front tires that look absolutely killer. The previous owner even threw in an extra set of rear tires, so you're all set for whatever the road throws your way, but the upgrades don't stop there. The car also has a new gas tank, so you can cruise for miles without worrying about running out of fuel. And if you're a stickler for originality, don't worry. The original steering wheel and instrument gauge cluster are included as extra parts. Now I know what you might be thinking. With 122,144 miles on the odometer, this car must be a bit tired. But fear not, my friends. The seller describes the condition as good. And from what I can see in the ad, it looks like this Valiant has been well cared for over the years. The blue paint is still shining bright, and the car looks ready to hit the road at a moment's notice. And let's talk about the price for a moment. $12,500 might seem like a lot for a car that's almost 60 years old, but trust me, it's a bargain. These classic Valiants are getting harder and harder to find, especially in this kind of condition with these upgrades. Plus, with a clean title, you can buy with confidence, knowing that there are no hidden surprises lurking in this car's past. So if you're in the market for a classic American car that's sure to turn heads and make a statement, look no further than this. 1964 Plymouth Valiant 200, it's got style, it's got power, and it's got a whole lot of character. Don't miss out on this opportunity to own a piece of automotive history. Give the seller a call and make an offer before someone else snatches it up. 12. All right, let's dive a little deeper into this 1970 Pontiac Executive, shall we? First off, let's talk about the history of this model. The Pontiac Executive was only produced for a few short years, from 1967 to 1970, making it a relatively rare find. It was positioned as a more luxurious version of the Pontiac Catalina, with a longer wheelbase and more high-end features. And with that big 455 cubic inch V8 under the hood, it was no slouch in the performance department either. Now, about this particular car, it's a bit of a mystery. The seller doesn't seem to know much about its history, other than the fact that it's been sitting in a garage for years. That means there could be some hidden issues that'll need to be addressed. But hey, that's part of the fun of taking on a project car, right? The body looks to be in decent shape from what we can see in the photos, but there's no telling what kind of rust or other issues might be lurking underneath. The green paint job is a classic 70s color, but it's likely faded and could use a refresh to really make it pop. Inside, the interior is going to need some work. The seller admits as much, but doesn't go into specifics. Could be anything from torn upholstery to a cracked dash pad to missing trim pieces. But again, that's all part of the project car experience. You get to make it your own and bring it back to life. Mechanically, it's a bit of a gamble. The seller doesn't know if the engine runs, so that's going to be the first order of business for any potential buyer. But if it does turn over, that 455 V8 is a beast of an engine that should provide plenty of power and torque. The automatic transmission is a plus for those who prefer a more laid-back driving experience, but some enthusiasts might prefer a manual gearbox. Other potential issues to look out for include the brakes, suspension, and electrical system. These are all areas that can degrade over time, especially if a car has been sitting for a while. But with some elbow grease and a bit of know-how, or a good mechanic on speed dial, these issues can be addressed. At the end of the day, this 1970 Pontiac Executive is a project car through and through. It's not for the faint of heart, but for the right buyer, it could be an incredibly rewarding experience. Imagine taking this car from its current state to a shining example of American muscle car glory, turning heads everywhere you go. And with a price tag of just $6,000, or potentially less if you're a savvy negotiator, it's a relatively affordable entry point into the world of classic car ownership. So if you've got the skills, the tools, and the passion for classic cars, this 1970 Pontiac Executive might just be the perfect project to sink your teeth into. Who knows? You might just end up with the car of your dreams and a whole bunch of new friends and admirers in the classic car community to boot. 13. We're taking a closer look at a 1967 Oldsmobile Delta 88 convertible that's just begging for a new home. First off, can we talk about that mileage? Only 60,000 original miles on the odometer, and the seller even has records dating back to 1981 to prove it. That's the kind of low mileage you dream about when you're hunting for a classic car. And speaking of dreams, just imagine cruising down the highway with the top down on this beauty. The convertible top is brand new, so you won't have to worry about any leaks or tears. And with a classic license plate to boot, this car is just oozing with vintage cool. Under the hood, you'll find the original 425 big block engine, which is paired with an automatic transmission. The seller says it runs and drives great, so you can hop in and hit the road right away. And with factory AC, tilt steering, cruise control, and even a power trunk, this car is loaded with all the creature comforts you could want. Now let's talk about the body. The seller says it's solid and rust-free, which is a huge plus for any classic car. There are a couple of small dents, and the paint is showing its age, but that just adds to the character of this 55-year-old beauty. And hey, a fresh coat of paint could really make this car shine. Inside, the seats do need to be reupholstered, but the seller has thrown on some seat covers to tide you over until you can get that done. And honestly, with everything else this car has going for it, a little bit of interior work is a small price to pay. Now about that price, the seller is asking $8,500 firm, and they're looking for a fast, hassle-free sale. They're not interested in any low-ball offers or trades, and they don't need any help selling this car. And honestly, with everything this Delta 88 has to offer, I can't blame them for being confident in their asking price. So if you're in the market for a classic convertible with low mileage, a big block engine, and plenty of vintage charm, this 1967 Oldsmobile Delta 88 might just be the car of your dreams. But you'd better act fast. With a car this cool at a price this reasonable, it's sure to be snapped up quickly. Don't miss your chance to own a piece of American automotive history. 14. We're diving into a classic American muscle car that's up for grabs on Craigslist, a 1976 Chevrolet Camaro, and it's got a price tag of just $8,500. This Camaro is a true blast from the past, sporting its original 350 cubic inch V8 engine and automatic transmission. The seller mentions that it runs and drives well, which is always a good sign for a car of this age. Plus, it's got some sweet features like power windows, air conditioning, and a tilt steering wheel. Not too shabby for a 76. Now let's talk about the condition. The seller doesn't give us a whole lot of details, but from what we can gather, this Camaro seems to be in pretty decent shape. The odometer reads 75,000 miles, which is relatively low for a car that's nearly 50 years old. And get this, the tires are said to be like new, so you won't have to worry about replacing those anytime soon. One thing that really stands out about this Camaro is its eye-catching purple paint job. It's definitely not a color you see every day, and it's sure to turn heads wherever you go. The seller also notes that the title is clean, which is always a plus when you're buying a used car. Of course, with any classic car, there are bound to be some imperfections. The seller doesn't mention any specific issues, but it's important to keep in mind that this is a 46-year-old vehicle. It may have some wear and tear, and it might not be in absolutely perfect condition. That being said, based on the information provided, this 1976 Chevrolet Camaro seems like a solid choice for any classic car enthusiast. It's got a strong V8 engine, a smooth automatic transmission, and some cool features that make it a fun and comfortable ride. and at just $8,500, it's a pretty sweet deal for a piece of American muscle car history. So if you're in the market for a vintage Camaro, this might just be the one for you. As always, be sure to do your due diligence and check it out in person before making any final decisions. But if everything checks out, you could be cruising down the road in this purple powerhouse in no time. 15. We've got a real treat for you. A 1979 Pontiac Grand Prix that's up for grabs on Craigslist for just $6,500. First off, let's talk about the condition of this beauty. The seller describes it as excellent, and based on the details provided, I'm inclined to agree. This Grand Prix has been in the hands of just one owner since 1984, and it's got a mere 90,000 original miles on the odometer. That's incredibly low mileage for a car that's over 40 years old. But the real star of the show here is the engine. The original 301 motor was rebuilt just 20,000 miles ago, and it's got some serious upgrades. We're talking new steel cranks, a small cam roller top end, and some more goodies that the seller tantalizingly mentions. What does all that mean? It means this Grand Prix is packing some serious power under the hood. And that power is channeled through a 350 turbo automatic transmission, which the seller says runs and drives great. With a setup like that, you can bet this car is an absolute blast to drive. The seller even notes that it sounds very mean, so you know it's got that classic muscle car growl that we all love. Now let's talk about the extras. The seller has a stack of maintenance receipts dating back to 1984, which is a testament to how well this car has been cared for over the years. And just feast your eyes on that silver paint job. It's a classic color that never goes out of style. The seller also mentions that this Grand Prix has a clean Florida title, which is always a good sign. And while they're ready to sell, they make it clear that this car is no joke. They're looking for serious cash buyers only, so no tire kickers or joyriders need apply. All in all, this 1979 Pontiac Grand Prix seems like an absolute gem. It's got low mileage, a rebuilt engine with some serious upgrades, a smooth shifting transmission, and a classic look that's sure to turn heads wherever you go. And at just $6,500, it's a steal of a deal for a car of this caliber. Of course, as with any used car purchase, it's always a good idea to see it in person and have a mechanic check it out before making a final decision. But based on the information provided, this Grand Prix seems like a solid bet for any classic car enthusiast looking for a powerful, well-maintained ride with a ton of character. If you've got the cash and you're ready to make a move, this could be the car of your dreams. 16. We've got a real blast from the past for you. A 1974 Chrysler Imperial that's up for sale on Craigslist for just $6,500. First things first, let's talk about the mileage. This Imperial has just 65,000 actual miles on the odometer, which is incredibly low for a car that's almost 50 years old. That's a testament to how well this car has been cared for over the years. Under the hood, you'll find a beefy 440 engine paired with an automatic transmission. The seller notes that the car runs very well, so you can expect a smooth and powerful ride. And let's be real, with a classic like this, you're not just buying transportation, you're buying an experience. The seller describes this Imperial as a nice cruiser that gets a lot of attention, and I can see why. These cars have a real presence on the road with their long, sleek lines and classic styling. And with this one being mostly original, it's got that authentic vintage charm that's so hard to find these days. Now, the seller does note that the car is not perfect, which is to be expected for a vehicle of this age. But they also point out that it's a survivor, which is a term used to describe a car that's been largely unmodified and well-maintained over the years. That's a big plus in my book. Mechanically, the seller says this Imperial is ready to go, which is always good to hear. They do mention a little bit of rust around the vinyl top, but they also note that it's not bad and that the car is mostly solid otherwise. Of course, as with any used car purchase, it's always a good idea to see it in person and have a mechanic check it out before making a final decision. But based on the information provided, this 1974 Chrysler Imperial seems like a solid choice for anyone looking for a classic cruiser with a ton of character. And at just $6,500, it's a lot of car for the money. These Imperials are getting harder and harder to find in good condition, so if you've been on the hunt for one, this could be your chance. All in all, if you're looking for a vintage ride that's sure to turn heads and put a smile on your face every time you get behind the wheel, this 1974 Chrysler Imperial is definitely worth checking out. It's got low mileage, a strong engine, and a whole lot of style. What more could you ask for? 17. We've got an incredible piece of automotive history for you. A 1949 Chrysler DeSoto Deluxe that's up for grabs on Craigslist for just $9,500. First off, let's talk about the rarity of this find. This DeSoto has been in the same family since it was purchased new in 1949. That's right, it's a one-family-owned survivor that's been meticulously maintained for 75 years. You simply don't come across cars like this every day. The seller shares some incredible details about the car's history. It was originally purchased by their great-grandfather, then handed down through the generations to their grandfather, mother, and finally to the seller in 2003. And get this, the seller has driven the car every year since then and has maintained it with the utmost care. Now let's talk about the specs. This DeSoto is a 4-door sedan with a 6-cylinder 237 cubic inch engine and a 3-speed manual transmission with fluid drive. The seller notes that the car still runs and drives, which is a testament to the quality of the engineering and the care it's received over the years. The car is also in remarkable condition for its age. The seller mentions that all the glass and chrome are present and in decent shape, and the white wall tires don't even have any flat spots. The car has been stored indoors since its second year, and even kept in a heated space during the winters. That kind of care is just incredible for a car of this vintage. Now, the seller does mention one issue. They were having some trouble with the transmission before storing the car for the winter. They're not sure exactly what the problem is, but they do note that the transmission still runs. Of course, as with any classic car, it's important to get it checked out by a mechanic before making any final decisions. But overall, this 1949 Chrysler DeSoto Deluxe seems like an absolute gem. It's got an incredible history, a well-maintained original engine and transmission, and a beautiful patina that only comes with age. And at just $9,500, it's a steal for a car of this rarity and significance. Of course, as the seller notes, this car is not perfect. It's a 75-year-old vehicle after all, but that's part of the charm of owning a classic like this. It's a piece of history that you can actually drive and enjoy, and it's sure to turn heads wherever you go. So if you're in the market for a true survivor car with an incredible story behind it, this 1949 Chrysler DeSoto Deluxe is definitely worth checking out. It's a rare opportunity to own a piece of automotive history that's been cherished by the same family for generations. And who knows, maybe you'll be the one to carry on that legacy for years to come. 18. We've got a real treat for you. A 1976 Lincoln Continental Mark IV that's up for grabs on Craigslist. This classic beauty is priced at just $6,500, which seems like a pretty sweet deal considering its condition and features. Now let's dive into the details. The seller mentions that this Sunday Cruiser is in great overall shape, and I've got to say, it looks like they're being straight up with us. With only 81,000 miles on the odometer, this Lincoln has been well cared for over the years. The clean title status and the fact that it's never been driven in winter and always garaged are definite pluses in my book. Under the hood, you'll find a powerful 8-cylinder engine that's ready to rumble. And with the rear-wheel drive, this car is built for those smooth, leisurely drives down the highway. The automatic transmission makes it a breeze to operate, so you can just sit back, relax, and enjoy the ride. One of the coolest things about this 1976 Lincoln Continental Mark IV is all the bells and whistles it comes with. We're talking power moon roof, hideaway headlights, wiper delay, and full power seats and windows, just to name a few. It's clear that Lincoln really went all out to make this car a true luxury experience. The white paint job looks clean and classy in the photos, and I can just imagine how stunning it must look in person. It's the kind of car that's going to turn heads wherever you go. Now, the seller does mention that a health issue is forcing the sale, which is a bit of a bummer. But hey, their loss could be your gain. If you're in the market for a classic car with a whole lot of character and style, this 1976 Lincoln Continental Mark IV might just be the one for you. So there you have it, folks. A quick overview of this awesome ride that's up for sale. If you're interested, I definitely recommend reaching out to the seller and setting up a time to check it out in person. Who knows? You might just end up cruising into the sunset in this sweet, sweet Lincoln. 19. We're checking out a 1985 Chevrolet Corvette that's been posted on Craigslist. And let me tell you, This thing is a real blast from the past. With a price tag of just $7,500, this could be your chance to own a piece of American sports car history. First things first, let's talk about the condition. The seller describes it as good, and based on the info provided, it seems like this Vet has been well maintained over the years. The odometer shows 102,555 miles, which is pretty reasonable for a car that's been around for nearly 4 decades. Under the hood, you'll find a powerful 8-cylinder engine that's ready to roar to life. And with rear-wheel drive, this Corvette is built for those thrilling, high-performance drives. The automatic transmission makes it easy to handle so you can focus on enjoying the ride. Now, the seller does mention a couple of minor issues. The turn signals sometimes don't flash on the dash, but that seems like a relatively easy fix. The good news is that all the other gauges on the dash are working properly, so you'll have no trouble keeping an eye on your speed and other important info. One of the coolest features of this '85 Corvette is the rotating headlights. They're a signature design element of this era, and it's awesome to see that they're still functioning properly on this particular car. The blue paint job looks pretty sweet in the photos, and I can only imagine how good it must look in person. It's the kind of color that really makes this Corvette stand out from the crowd. As for the title and registration, the seller mentions that the car currently has antique plates and title. It was state inspected up until October 2023, at which point they decided to switch to antique status. That's definitely something to keep in mind if you're considering making this Corvette your own. Overall, this 1985 Chevrolet Corvette seems like a solid choice for anyone who's in the market for a classic American sports car. It's got a clean title, a powerful engine, and a whole lot of style. The seller seems open to answering any questions potential buyers might have, which is always a good sign. So if you've been dreaming of cruising down the highway in a vintage Corvette, this might just be your chance. With a price tag of $7,500, it's definitely worth checking out. Who knows? You might just fall in love with this '85 beauty and make it your own. 20. We're taking a closer look at a 1963 Studebaker Gran Turismo Hawk that's up for grabs on Craigslist. This vintage beauty is priced at $9,500. And let me tell you, it's got a whole lot of charm and character. First off, let's talk about what makes this Studebaker so special. Under the hood, you'll find a 289 Studebaker V8 engine paired with a Borg-Warner T10 4-speed manual transmission. That's right, this baby is all original. It's even got power steering, although it doesn't have power brakes. But hey, who needs them when you've got a classic ride like this? The seller has provided some really cool details about the car's history. It was originally sold new in Carmichael, California, and the production order and window sticker are included with the sale. That's a pretty neat piece of provenance if you ask me. Now the seller has owned this Studebaker since 2007, and it's clear they've put a lot of love and care into it. The bumpers have been re-chromed, the interior has been reupholstered with factory-correct matching vinyl, and there's new carpet and restored door panels. They've even installed a new exhaust system and an electric fuel pump. It's obvious that this car has been well maintained over the years. The seller does mention that the car was repainted long before they purchased it, and it could use a fresh coat of paint. There's also some rust in the rocker panels, but it's covered by the aluminum trim. Despite these minor issues, the seller says the car remains solid overall. One thing to note is that the engine does burn oil, which the seller attributes to worn oil rings and valve guides. But hey, that's just part of the charm of owning a classic car, right? The seller says the engine has very good oil pressure and is a strong runner, so it sounds like it's still got plenty of life left in it. The seller also mentions that they have the factory-correct aluminum fascia trim for the deck lid if the buyer is interested. The headliner is original and a bit rough, but it's still there. Overall, this 1963 Studebaker Gran Turismo Hawk seems like a really cool car with a lot of potential. The seller has driven it approximately 10,000 miles during their ownership, and they say it remains a good driver-quality car. They're selling it because they seldom drive it anymore, which is totally understandable. If you're in the market for a classic car with a ton of style and character, this Studebaker might just be the one for you. And with Back to the 50s coming up soon, it's ready to hit the road and turn some heads. So there you have it, folks. A quick overview of this awesome 1963 Studebaker Gran Turismo Hawk. If you're interested, I'd definitely recommend reaching out to the seller and setting up a time to check it out in person. Who knows, you might just fall in love with this vintage beauty and make it your own.